Why do some people seem to be undergoing such intense changes while others keep living on autopilot? If you have felt that your reality has been changing accelerated lately, with physical, emotional and spiritual symptoms you can't explain, so you may be among the chosen ones. But calm down, this has nothing to do with an idea of superiority. On the contrary, it is a call to a greater purpose. Insomnia for no apparent reason, sudden heat waves, disconnecting with old friendships, constant synchronicities such as 1111 appearing everywhere. These are clear signs of spiritual ascension. And if you have noticed these changes, know that it is not a coincidence. There is a movement happening, a collective awakening that is transforming the way we perceive life. And if you feel this call, it means that your energy frequency is no longer the same, something within you is awakening. But what does all this mean? What is happening to you? And most importantly, what to do now? In this video, you will understand exactly what is behind these transformations and how they are linked to something much bigger. Get ready, because after hearing this, you will never see your life the same way. From an early age, some people carry the inexplicable feeling that they do not fully fit into the world around them. They look at society, their rules and standards, and feel they are living in a game whose rules have never received. This feeling of non-belonging can be confusing and even lonely, but in fact, it is one of the first signs of spiritual ascension. The person begins to realize that his energetic frequency no longer resonates with the normality imposed, and this can arouse a deep question: what am I really doing here? Over time, this sensation intensifies. What previously brought satisfaction, such as parties, trivial conversations and daily distractions, comes to look empty. There is an internal restlessness, a growing desire of something more, something that goes beyond the surface. The first wave of awakening manifests itself at this moment, bringing an uncontrollable will to seek answers. Videos, books, and content about transformation of consciousness begin to appear out of nowhere, and synchronicities emerge as small signs of the universe saying, "You are on the right track." And then something curious happens: the perception of reality begins to change. The person feels a connection with the strongest universe, as if being guided to a new way of existing. But along with this expansion comes some discomfort. Friends and family may not understand, and the fear of judgment may arise. However, this phase is essential as it prepares the ground for the next stage, the change of consciousness. And when this starts to happen, everything transforms. Suddenly, everything that once seemed to make sense begins to lose its shine. Automatic routines, superficial conversations, and even certain habits begin to look worn, lifeless. This is because the mind is expanding, adjusting to a new energy frequency. Reality is no longer seen only by physical eyes, but also by a more subtle and deep perception. The answers that were previously sought out begin to emerge from the inside. This is the true beginning of the transformation of consciousness. With this expansion, the person feels an uncontrollable impetus to change. It can be small, such as changing a fiction book for one about spirituality, or something bigger, such as rethinking your career and even your relationships. Intuition strengthens itself, bringing the certainty that it is time to follow another way, even if it is not yet completely visible. This is one of the most striking symptoms of the first wave of awakening, the inability to continue living on autopilot. The need for purpose begins to speak louder. However, this process does not happen without challenges. The old me resists, tries to cling to what was familiar, while the new me insists on moving. This internal conflict can lead to anxiety, doubts, and even a certain fear of the unknown. But here is the key: this discomfort is a sign of growth. As consciousness expands, body and mind begin to react, and that's exactly where the first energy symptoms arise. The body speaks, and when the energy frequency begins to change, it responds. Heat waves that come out of nowhere, inexplicable chills, insomnia for no apparent reason. These are classic signs that internal energy is adjusting. Often, the person feels deep tiredness, as if a marathon had run, even without having physical effort. This is because the body is absorbing and processing new vibrations, something that can be called energy DNA activation. This phenomenon may seem strange, but it is part of the process of spiritual ascension. In addition to the physical, emotions also boil. There are days when everything seems to be fine, and others when an inexplicable sadness takes over. This is because old emotions and trauma are coming to light to be healed. Many people report moments of extreme sensitivity, where even watching a movie can cause unexpected tears. The body is becoming more subtle, moving to a state known as the crystalline body, where energy density decreases and intuition is strengthened. This is a clear indicative of the transformation of consciousness in progress. And then the most intriguing signs arise. Repeated numbers, 1111, 144, 2222, begin to appear constantly, impressive coincidences happen, and the feeling of being guided becomes more evident. All of this is not chance, they are synchronicities, messages from the universe confirming that the path is right. Intuition intensifies, opening the doors for even deeper experiences. When intuition awakens, it becomes impossible to ignore. That inner voice that once seemed to whisper now speaks clearly, guiding every decision. The person feels a momentum to avoid certain places or approaching others without an apparent logic reason, just unshakable certainty. Unexpected meetings, subtle signs, and even premonitory thoughts become frequent. This is one of the most striking evidence of the expansion of perception. The universe is always sending messages, but now they can finally be understood. And then the numbers begin to emerge, 1111 on the clock, 144 on a car plate, 2222 flashing on the phone. These standards are not coincidences, but a call to pay attention. Each numerical sequence carries a specific vibration, such as an energy code activating sleeping parts of consciousness. Number 144, for example, is directly linked to the 144,000 group, souls who came to Earth with a spiritual mission. These signs indicate that awakening is deepening and that the connection with the universe is stronger than ever. And the more these signs are perceived, the more they happen. Thoughts seem to shape reality rapidly, as if there was a direct bridge between intention and manifestation. But this new level of consciousness also brings challenges. Many of the surrounding people do not understand these experiences. Suddenly, certain friendships and relationships begin to lose their tune. Without notice, conversations that once flowed begin to sound empty. What was once like a connection now becomes noise. This is because, by raising its energy frequency, the person naturally misses with ancient patterns. It's not that others have changed, it is she who no longer fits the same vibration. This removal can be painful as it involves friends, family, and even loving relationships that once seemed solid. But deep down, a certainty arises. Continuing where there is no growth is no longer an option. It is common to feel a period of loneliness in this process. Often, the person wonders if he is wrong because he is no longer interested in certain subjects or can no longer fit the same conversation wheels. But this is part of the collective awakening. As multidimensional consciousness expands, there is a profound need for more authentic and aligned connections with the new reality. Superficial relationships lose their meaning, and the search for genuine exchanges intensifies. Over time, the universe begins to bring people who vibrate in the same tune closer. New friendships arise, marked by deep dialogues and aligned interests. The sense of loneliness gives way to the understanding that this transition is necessary. And on this path of rediscovery, something curious happens. The need to be closer to nature becomes irresistible. Suddenly, being surrounded by concrete and noise begins to look suffocating. The city, once so familiar, now looks like a dense and chaotic energy environment. On the other hand, nature now exerts an almost magnetic call. Peeling barefoot in the grass, feeling the wind on the face, or simply hearing the sound of the rain becomes deeply restorative. This desire to reconnect with the natural is a clear symptom of spiritual ascension. Earth's energy helps in the balance of energy frequency, helping to integrate internal changes. Many begin to realize that being in nature is not just relaxing, it is a true healing process. Contact with trees, rivers, and mountains helps to release the excessive energy load accumulated by everyday stress. In addition, the sun and water are powerful conductors of vibrational energy, helping to clean the auric field. Simple techniques, such as practicing grinding, step on barefoot land, or river and sea baths, can accelerate the harmonization of body and mind. The more time in the midst of nature, the clearer the connection with the universe becomes. With this new tune, perception expands and the senses sharpen. Some people begin to feel the energy of plants, perceive subtle patterns in nature cycles, and even have minor animal telepathic experiences. But this expanded sensitivity is not restricted to the awake state only, it also manifests itself in dreams, which become more vivid and full of hidden messages. The nights are no longer only moments of rest and become true spiritual journeys. Dreams become intense, full of hidden symbolism and messages. Many people begin to dream of unknown places, find beings of light, or receive guidelines that, upon waking, make perfect sense. This phenomenon is directly linked to the expansion of perception and activation of multidimensional consciousness. During sleep, the rational mind relaxes, allowing subtle information to come more clearly. In addition to dreams, another intriguing phenomenon begins to happen: telepathic communication. It is not uncommon to think of someone and, soon after, receive a message from that person. Or, to feel clearly what someone is thinking, without any word said. This energetic sensitivity is part of the process of spiritual ascension, for by raising the vibration, the person tunes into more subtle fields of conscience. The veil between the worlds becomes thinner, facilitating the reception of higher plans information. And the more intuition strengthens, the clearer the power of thought in the creation of reality. Small desires begin to manifest rapidly, coincidences become common, and one realizes that their energy shapes the events around them. This marks the beginning of the accelerated manifestation phase, where consciousness awakens becomes the key to cooking its own life. Which once took months or years to happen, now comes in a matter of days, or even hours. Thoughts, emotions, and intentions become powerful forces, shaping reality almost instantaneously. This is one of the natural consequences of the transformation of consciousness. By vibrating at a higher frequency, the person aligns with the flow of the universe and attracts what he focuses on. Therefore, it is essential to have extra attention to thoughts and feelings, as they are creating reality faster and faster. At this stage, many people realize that they can no longer afford to nourish fears, doubts, or negative standards, as they also manifest with the same intensity. On the other hand, when there is clarity of purpose and aligned intention, opportunities arise almost magically. An idea can attract the right connections, a sincere desire can open unexpected doors, and even a simple phrase said at the right time can completely transform a situation. This is the conscious manifestation in action. But this power brings with it a spiritual responsibility, to know what you really want and be willing to act to co-create this reality. The universe responds accurately, but it is up to the person to choose if it is ready to receive. And as this process intensifies, an internal call begins to echo more strongly, the need for a great change in life, whether of work, city, or lifestyle. There comes a time when everything that once seemed right begins to lose meaning. The work that has been satisfactory now seems like a weight, the city that once brought comfort now seems energetically dense, and even the old habits begin to seem misaligned. This is because, when passing through the first wave of awakening, the person feels an internal call to realize his life with his new vibration. It's not just a whim or passing dissatisfaction, it's a deep need for transformation. Many feel an uncontrollable desire to change their jobs, seek a greater purpose, or even start over from scratch elsewhere. This impulse comes from the very process of spiritual ascension, which causes the soul to seek environments and situations that are in tune with its current energetic frequency. Those who resist this change often feel an increase in physical symptoms such as extreme tiredness, insomnia, and even episodes of anxiety. The body signals what the mind tries to ignore: it's time to evolve. And when this call can no longer be ignored, something even deeper arises: the need to serve. Awakening is no longer just an individual process and becomes a mission. The person feels that he can no longer keep this knowledge for himself and begins to want to help others on his journey. This is one of the lighter signs that the soul is ready for a greater purpose, to support the collective awakening and contribute to the creation of a new reality on Earth. When consciousness expands, something changes deeply. Awakening is no longer just an individual journey and becomes a commitment to the whole. There is a genuine desire to help others cross this process, to share knowledge and to be a light for those who are still stuck with the illusions of the old reality. This feeling is not by chance, it is part of the mission of those who came to Earth for a greater purpose. Many are part of the 144,000 group, souls who accepted the call to guide humanity at this time of transition. This desire to help can manifest itself in many ways. Some feel a call to work with energy cure, others to share information through writing, videos or lectures. There are those who simply become pillars of light in their families and communities, helping for the emanation example and energy. Regardless of the path chosen, spiritual responsibility becomes clear. The world needs more awakened people, and each individual can make a difference in the creation of the new land. And as this mission becomes more evident, the perception of reality changes completely. Time seems to accelerate, events fit almost surgical accurately, and the certainty of being on the right track becomes unshakable. Everything that once seemed like a simple coincidence is now seen as part of a larger plan. The game of life is revealed, and one understands that it is possible to cushize their own reality with conscience and purpose. Now that you understand the signs of awakening, the question that remains is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you ignore the signs and try to go back to the old reality that no longer makes sense? Or will you embrace this transformation and take your role in this great change? Awakening is not just about realizing that something is different, it is about acting according to this new consciousness. Who understands this, advances. Those who resist are stuck in the old cycle. So what will be your choice? If you have gotten here, it is because something inside you already know the answer. And now, the next step is to strengthen this connection, better understand your mission and learn to manifest your reality with conscience. You have already felt that you are here for a greater reason, and I can guarantee, you are not alone on this journey. But to continue advancing, you need to be surrounded by knowledge and people who vibrate at the same frequency. So don't waste time, subscribe to the channel, enable notifications, and keep following this content. Here you will find everything you need to deepen your awakening and understand your true purpose. The universe is already guiding you. The question is, are you ready to take the next step?